Apologies from Jackie Chambers. Just FYI.
Oh, thank you. Is there a substitute? Do you have a substitute?
No, it was a last minute thing.
Okay, thanks. Okay, I think that's everyone then. Get ready to. Thank you and welcome to Resources Board on the 22nd of March. I'm here in the chamber with the team, but I won't go through the evacuation procedure as most of you are in your own homes. That's item 1 on the agenda. I have apologies for absence, members away on official council business. I've had apologies from Councillor Major Singh and Councillor Jackie Chambers, and I have Councillor Marion Humphreys as substitute this evening for Councillor Major Singh. Item number 3 on the agenda. Do we have any disclosable pecuniary or non-pecuniary interests for the meeting this evening? No, I can see no hands up, so we'll move on. Item number 4 for the minutes of the Resources Board held on the 25th of January. Got a copy here to sign. I'll just do that because these have gone through full council. Give those back to Sue. Thank you. And then item number 5 on the agenda is public participation, but as we know, we haven't got any visitors or any speakers this evening or anyone that's asked to participate. So we'll move to the main items on the agenda, agenda item 6, which is the progress report on achievement of the corporate plan and performance indicator targets from April to December 2020. Do I have any comments on that item? I have Councillor Dervix whose hands up.
Thank you. It's a little bit concerning that we have quite a lot of ambers and the reds on this report. But I think we should congratulate our staff in the fact that there aren't a lot more of those and that they seem to be pulling back some of the problems that we've got there, which are, when you read through them, really down to the COVID situation. So I would like it recorded that we thank our staff for the progress they've made in keeping those as good as they are. Let's put it that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dervix. Make sure those comments are noted. I can't see any other hands up. Would anyone else like to comment on that agenda item before we move to the recommendation?
I'll move the recommendation, Chair.
Second.
Thank you. So I've got a proposer from Councillor David Humphreys, second from Councillor Colin Hayfield, and I think Steve will take us through the roll call on that.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Councillor Davey.
4.
Councillor Deakin.
4.
Councillor Dervix.
4.
Councillor Farrow.
4.
Councillor Hayfield.
4.
Councillor David Humphreys.
4.
Councillor Simpson.
4.
Councillor Marion Humphreys.
4.
And Councillor Simmons.
4.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 7. The recommendation to the council is to accept the updated financial regulations attached to Appendix A and the amendments to the Constitution are made. Just like
I'll
I'll move
to,
the
um,
recommendation. Chair.
I believe that was moving the recommendation from Councillor Hayfield. I can't see any other hands up there, so do I have a second for that?
You do. I will second that.
Thank you. I had a plethora of hands there, so I'll see that that's seconded by Councillor Neil Dervix. And I'll pass this over to the Chief Executive to go through the roll call.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Davey,
4,
Councillor Deakin,
4,
Councillor Dervix,
4,
Councillor Farrow,
4,
Councillor Hayfield,
4,
Councillor Humphreys,
4,
Councillor Simpson,
4,
Councillor Marion Humphreys,
4,
and Councillor Simmons.
4.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then move on to agenda item 8, the changes to the non-domestic discretionary retail rate relief scheme. Do I have any comments on this report? Councillor Simpson, see your hand up.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd just like some assurance from either our finance team or the Chief Executive that the government's promise to make good the shortfall is real on this occasion, and that the expectation is that any funds that we forego by these additional reliefs will be recovered.
Thank you. I'll just pass you over to Sue. She'll happily answer that question.
Yes, I can confirm that certainly we will be reimbursed for the 100% relief, which is why also we're bringing you a further report in May. The move to 66% just needs to be formalised, so it won't go into our policy until we are certain that it is going to be formalised and we will get the money back, hence the further report in May.
Thank you, Chairman. Could I ask a supplementary question to that? Is there an estimate of the total value of reliefs envisaged here?
I'm afraid, Chair, I don't have that figure to hand, but I can certainly try and project that forward. It can change depending on what businesses are currently trading, but certainly we could give you an estimate of that. I'm afraid I just don't have it at this point.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll move the recommendation.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Hayfield. I can't see any other hands up in relation to that item, so I'll hand over to the Chief Executive to take the roll call on that recommendation.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Davey,
4,
Councillor Deakin,
4,
Councillor Dervix,
4,
Councillor Farrow,
4,
Councillor Hayfield,
4,
Councillor David Humphreys,
4,
Councillor Simpson,
4,
Councillor Marion Humphreys,
4,
and Councillor Simmons.
4.
Thank you.
Thank you all. That's unanimous. Moving on to agenda item 9, the internal audit plan for 21-22 and counter fraud activity. Report being produced by Linda, our internal auditor. Recommendation to the board this evening is that the audit plan in Appendix A be approved and that the work of the counter fraud officer be noted. Do I have any? I've got Councillor Simpson with your hand up there.
Thank you. Just a couple of things I'd like to say, really. First off, on the counter fraud activity, I think that's extremely welcome, and there's clearly an awful lot of good work going on there, and that's very welcome. Secondly, on the internal audit plan, I'd just like to be advised, please, of any areas of the council that haven't been subject to any form of internal audit. I know that if they get a score of less than 100, that we don't audit them. But I'd say professionally that the places where I've seen most difficulty have often been those that are considered too low to be worthy of an audit, and that can lead to complacency and problems creeping in unexpectedly. So if we could just be advised over which areas have not been audited, that would be helpful.
I'll just bring Sue into that question.
Again, going into specific areas, I'm afraid I wouldn't have individual areas, but we moved to this risk-based system only a couple of years ago. Prior to that, it was done differently. So I would expect that there are very few, if any, areas that haven't been audited previously. More latterly, we have, because of our increased risks in certain areas, focused very much on the risk-based approach. But certainly once we have done all of those, then we will be looking at other areas to ensure that, as you say, areas don't go without audit completely.
Thanks, Chair. I'm happy with that, but I think it would be helpful if perhaps outside of the meeting, members of the board could be circulated with a list of any areas that haven't had it over the last 10 years. And with that, I'll happily move the recommendation.
Thank you. And possibly to add to that, the criteria for risk and how that's assessed, so that we can understand how those areas have been defined as having that lower risk in terms of that internal audit strategy. So I have a proposer. Do I have a second? Can't see any other hands up to ask a question. I've got Councillor Davey, second there. So I'll hand over to our Chief Executive to go through the roll call on that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Davey,
4,
Councillor Deakin,
4,
Councillor Dervix,
4,
Councillor Farrow,
4,
Councillor Hayfield,
4,
Councillor David Humphreys,
4,
Councillor Simpson,
4,
Councillor Marion Humphreys,
4,
and Councillor Simmons.
4.
Thank you, Chair.
Now we move into the exclusion of the press and public. So that just to move into that private and confidential part of the agenda, the recommendations of order that under section 100A4 of the Local Government Act, that the public and press be excluded from the meeting for the following items of business on the grounds that it involves the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined by Schedule 12A to the Act.
So moved, Chair.
Thank you.
seconded.
Thank you. Do I need a roll call on that? Yes, thank you. I'll move to the Chief Executive for a roll call. And now that I have a proposer, which I believe was Councillor Hayfield, and a second, which was Councillor Simpson.
Thank you. Councillor Davey,
4,
Councillor Deakin,
4,
Councillor Dervix,
4,
Councillor Farrow,
4,
Councillor Hayfield,
4,
Councillor David Humphreys,
4,
Councillor Simpson,
4,
Councillor Marion Humphreys,
4,
and Councillor Simmons.
4.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So we move to agenda item number